Is an election now an inevitability?
Well, it was threatened no less than 2 weeks ago, a press conference, joint one between Simon Coveney, the Irish Foreign Affairs Minister, and Chris Heaton-Harris, the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland at Hillsborough Castle. And well, last night the ministers were finished here. They couldn't elect a speaker here yesterday because of the way the DeHunt government runs, and we are assuming in around lunchtime today that Chris Heaton-Harris will call that election. Now, that election, it must be said, will bring nothing new to this. In fact, it will polarise politics further out to the extremes here in Northern Ireland, because Sinn Féin will see this as a border poll and try and run it as such. That will squeeze the middle ground, especially in around the Social Democratic and Labour Party, the more moderate Nationalist Party, and the Ulster Unionist Party, also a more moderate Unionist Party. Where the alliance votes goes, who knows? That is, because we run PR here, we are always left with some sort of coalition government. So that will be the big one to watch. But it will be the DUP back and Sinn Féin back. In which order, we don't know. But it will mean that at the end of this, there will still be no agreement in and around the protocol. Those issues will not have gone away, and we will still not have a government. But what is really going wrong here is from 2016, British politics very much has frozen, not just on the British mainland, but here as well, because we had David Cameron leaving, then Theresa May, then how she was held up in the House of Commons, then we got through to her going, then Boris Johnson, then he went into an election. Then we had a pandemic, and nothing has really been discussed. So when the protocol was brought into place, three parties from here drove to Dublin, the Alliance, the SDLP and Sinn Féin, and were calling for the rigorous implementation of the protocol. Now, no matter what your politics on any of this, and this includes in Britain when green policies and so forth are launched, there doesn't seem to be any political explanations of how we pay for these things and what the minutiae of this is. What is the detail, the nitty-gritty inside these agreements? And the protocol, when we speak to hauliers, they're the people that are bringing this in, they're telling us they're making a lot of money out of this, but it will not be beneficial to Northern Ireland, because a lot of the big firms and big supermarkets that are in here, and we've got to bear in mind only 30% of that protocol has been enforced as yet. There's another 70% to come. It will cause serious rises in our foods because of shortage of competition. And that is a problem for Northern Ireland. It's a problem here behind us, and only certain members of the political world seem to be pointing this out. And others seem to be saying, no, we need to get on with it, we need to go forward. And it brings us to the farmers, who is exactly the same in Britain, all these green policies put onto them, and nobody seems to be telling them how to pay for it. So today, in and around lunchtime, we expect that Chris Heaton-Harris will come to a microphone and tell us that the 15th of December is being mooted, that there will be an election in Northern Ireland.
Now, as you say, just very quickly, the Northern Ireland Protocol is the sticking point here, or one of the major sticking points. What confidence is there in Rishi Sunak in the Westminster government to sort this out?
Well, there was quite a lot of confidence in him, but the fact that he has called, well, Chris Heaton-Harris has said that we're going for an election, really says to the unionist population, well, we're going to try and push at the weakest link to push this protocol forward. We're not interested in trying to sort it out. We're just going to try and push it through, and unionism is going to have to just deal with it in its best way possible. So therefore, Rishi Sunak in his first test through Chris Heaton-Harris has not done very well in amongst unionist communities here in Northern Ireland.